Health, bringing you this week's Wednesday Wellness Minutes, and this week I'm really excited to share with you 3 huge benefits of intermittent fasting or fasting in general. There are a ton of ideas out there about what you can benefit from fasting, but I'm just going to give you a few to give you some idea of why it might benefit you and why you might want to consider it. So, first of all, think about our ancestors. They didn't just crawl out of the cave, as Stephen Gundry says, and have a refrigerator sitting there, They could go an entire day and be hunting, foraging for food and things like that and not have any food until lunch or dinner, or maybe not even that day. They might go a couple days without food. Just depends on how readily they had sources available. So keep that in mind when you take away the stigma or the fear of fasting, because quite frankly, our bodies have been rigged to do it since the dawn of time, frankly. So fasting is not going to put you into starvation mode. It's not going to have your body just collect and hold on to everything. So keep that in mind. Let go of that fear of fasting. It's not going to hurt you. You're not going to get sick from it. You'll actually grow stronger, and I'm going to help you understand why with these key benefits here. So first of all, let's prevent some illness, right? Everybody's thinking about how can I avoid getting sick? Well, most of the time we just go to the doctor and get a pill and say, hey, fix me now. But we want to prevent things. As you know, around here, prevention is the cure, so we want to give you tools to prevent. Fasting is one of the greatest ways to prevent illness, because if you think about it, if you decrease your blood sugar, you're going to decrease your inflammation, because insulin's not going to be out there running around. If you know anything about hormone balance, we'll talk about that another day, but insulin is one of the biggest issues with our bodies today and in the standard American diet, or otherwise known as the SAD diet. So we want to prevent illness by decreasing inflammation. We want to think about not feeding cancer cells that are running rogue in our body. We want to think about boosting the immune system and helping decrease that inflammation, which is going to help our cells repair, which is going to give our body that energy it needs to make us feel good and to keep our immune system strong. Another way to do it is to balancing your hormones. Your hormones are, of course, as critical as you might imagine, but most people don't think about insulin as their hormone. They think about their testosterone or their estrogen or their progesterone or some other hormone they might think of, human growth hormone, something like that. Think of your hormones as basically the powerhouses in your body. They're going around doing all the work. And if you don't have a balance there because your liver is getting pounded by insulin all day, it's not going to be very efficient at creating hormones. So you want to understand that by keeping your blood sugar down using fasting or intermittent fasting, you're going to be able to benefit your liver so much by decreasing any fatty liver, any effects that the insulin will have on your hormones, maybe causing your testosterone to rise, which might develop polycystic ovarian syndrome in a woman, something like that. So keep that in mind. Help the liver balance, decrease the insulin, help your body produce more hormones efficiently so that you can actually feel better. Brain health is, of course, the last major huge benefit, but again, they are innumerable. They go on and on and on. These are just 3 high points. So brain health, increased clarity. Increased clarity is fantastic. If you ever have a lunch, or maybe you go back to your desk or somewhere you're working and you go back and you're starting to get back in your project or whatever you're doing, and you start getting a little dozy, a little noddy, a little bit falling asleep, right? I don't necessarily have that problem, but I know I used to when I worked as an engineer, because I used to eat a ton of carbs at lunch, and I'd go back to my desk and I'm like, all right, I get this project done, and I'd be falling asleep at my desk. And nobody has time for that, It's like Sweet Brown, what was her name? Sweet Brown said, ain't nobody got time for that. If you know the reference. If not, go look up Sweet Brown on the internet if you want a good laugh. It's fantastic. Anyway, mental clarity, decreased brain fog. Nobody likes brain fog. Brain fog or brain fog. If you have brain fog, you're going to be less productive. You're going to feel poor. You're not going to get the most out of life, because if you have brain fog, things are just going to be jumbled. Your brain's going to be cloudy. Your brain's trying to work on something when you're trying to do something over here. If it's battling too much sugar in your bloodstream and insulin's coming in there and trying to take it all down because it's toxic, you're going to be brain foggy. You're going to have less mental clarity. Okay, so how do we go about doing this, right? Intermittent fasting or fasting in general doesn't have to be scary. Just think about it this way. If you're going to do intermittent fasting, think about eating between, let's say, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Okay, that's a pretty tight window. Usually that leaves us about 18 hours of time when we're not eating. Average person, 8 of that, you're sleeping. You're not even awake. Okay, so think about that. If you're going to consider intermittent fasting, start at the time you'd normally have lunch, and think about where your breakfast is, and then start eating, instead of a breakfast, eat a snack 30 minutes later each time. So let's say you have breakfast at 7. Start eating a breakfast or snack at 7:30, and then at 8, and then at 8:30. Or if you want to jump by hours, it's fine as well. But work your way up to not eating until you have lunch, okay? Now, during that time, you're going to want to make sure you're supporting your body, supporting your adrenals and things like that. So put a little bit of some Premier Pink salt or some Himalayan salt in your water, which is going to help keep your adrenals strong and help you stay a little more satisfied as you go through that time period. Lemon in your water is perfectly fine. So 14 to 18 hours of fasting is really good for intermittent fasting. If you are battling with type 2 diabetes and your blood sugar is way out of whack and your fasting blood sugars are 102 to 125 or somewhere in there, you really need to take some serious action. So you might want to consider fasting altogether, which would literally consume just water and salt over a period of time. I've had patients do it as short as 2 days and as long as 21 days. And what happens is they decrease the amount of bloat, their hormones become balanced, they lose weight over time, and what happens is they just feel much better. Some people have instant mental clarity, some people have a little bit tougher time, just depends on your activity levels and what continues to go in your body based on your activity levels. So make sure you add that salt in there. I've heard it argued that the greatest predictor of longevity, of long health, long life, and enjoying life is called calorie restriction. Now, we don't want to starve ourselves, but sometimes we have to if we balance our hormones. So think about these 3 huge benefits, okay? You're going to prevent illness, you're going to boost your hormone production, you're going to get better mental clarity. So please share this with your friends and family so they understand that intermittent fasting doesn't have to be a scary thing. It can be very easily done. You can do full fasting if you need to. We're here to help you. We're here to guide you through that process. If you need help, let us know. We'll be happy to give you that information. So go and share this with your friends and family, and we will look forward to seeing you next week for the Wednesday Wellness Minutes.